Right.
Hunker down. This is going to be a long one.
Oh my God. The worst thing about this is I saw Matt Steele's phone and he has notes. And for most people, when they have notes, it's like, oh, I know how to make this succinct and make this easy. When Matt Steele has notes, it means that he's written down every single detail no one wants to fucking hear. And we're going to be here all night. I have places to go. I'd like to go to sleep.
Where are you going?
Please.
It's 9:30.
I'm looking at paragraphs, guys. You have no idea. Save me. I'm in danger. Call the cops.
It's coming, baby.
Disgusting.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 2 Gay Matt. It's Matt Steele.
And it's Matt Palmer.
And I'm so excited to talk about this topic. This is going to be a discussion of a banner year for musical theater.
Just so we're clear, the definition of a discussion means more than one person talks.
Well, you can give your input if you want. The Tony season of 2003 to 2004, we will just call it the 2004 Broadway year for short, the shorthand. It's not just one of the most exciting years for Broadway, it is like one of the most impactful, influential, like seasons of anything that like inspired me and influenced me like as a consumer of art and as an artist myself.
That's beautiful.
And I will tell you why. It is because the 2003 to 2004 Tony season was the first year I not only read the message boards, but participated in the writing of the message boards.
I hate that message boards are a part of this.
I mean, it was the early 2000s. Everyone was on a message board or something. You had your Friends of Mariah message board.
I was, FOMM, hey guys.
And I had all that chat. I had Finishing the Chat, which was mostly a Sondheim message board, but did also have a section for like everything on Broadway happening. Guys, this year was so huge that they made a documentary about it. It is called Show Business: The Road to Broadway, and it is chronicling 4 Broadway musicals of that season: Avenue Q, Wicked, Caroline or Change, and Taboo. Check out that documentary if you want to learn more about this season and those excellent musicals. This was also the year where every Friday night at 12:30 at night, what was I doing? Was I out partying with friends?
No.
Hell no. I was in front of my TV watching Theater Talk on PBS.
I've never even heard of that.
It was a show that was on after midnight on Friday nights, and baby, my teenage ass was watching that shit. And they would have guests, and they would talk about the things happening in the Broadway season.
Did you care about Broadway before you cared about the Oscars?
Yeah, well, yes. Okay. Musical theater was very much more prevalent in my life because of my grandparents. You know, I grew up my grandfathers loved South Pacific, Guys and Dolls, like Damn Yankees, The Music Man. It was all in my life, like since I can remember.
Got it. Okay.
So I was very much more a musical theater person before I was like a movie person.
Got it.
I did follow like the Tony Awards, like, you know, the years prior, but this was the year I felt like I was participating in like the full scope of the punditry of the season.
Right,
you
the
know?
punditry.
The punditry of the season.
Oh my gosh.
The punditry is everything. So I think a nice like way to start off is to show the opening number of the 2004 Tony Awards. Guys, this was the year Hugh Jackman came to Broadway in the Broadway musical, The Boy from Oz. And baby, no woman was safe. The demographic for Broadway theater ticket buyers was middle-aged white women. So you know, when they were sitting down watching The Boy from Oz, there was not a dry seat in that house. Those seats are still squishing at the Imperial Theater.
All right.
And it is 20 years after the fact. Hugh Jackman was king of Broadway.
Is the show good, or was it just Hugh Jackman's on Broadway?
I did not see the show.
Okay.
From what I remember in reading the reviews, Hugh Jackman was excellent. The whole cast was excellent. I'm sure if I saw it now, I'd be like, this is fucking great.
Okay.
But like, you know, the critics love ripping things apart.
That's fair.
Ben Brantley has opinions.
Yeah.
And yeah, you will like this because it features a song that you love very, very much.
Okay.
And that is One Night Only from the musical Dreamgirls.
I do love that.
Iconic. Everyone is ready. It's so fuzzy.
I know. I swear TVs looked better than this in 2004.
I have no doubt that we could love you.
This isn't the J HUD version.
It isn't. This is before the J HUD.
He should have known.
You really don't have that time. One night, we got one night, we got one night, we only got one night.
I haven't watched this in years. Drag him around, everyone wants him.
And what are the 3 shows again were represented?
Hairspray, Carolina Change, Little Shop of Horrors.
Got it, okay.
Actually, we've only got till 11 o'clock. This isn't the Oscars, it's the Tonys. By George, look at these girls.
Why, George, look at these girls.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dynamites from Hairspray.
And they were so last season at this point.
Little Shop of Horrors.
They weren't nominated the year prior, were they? No, they were nominated for this Tony season.
The Hairspray?
Yeah.
No, the Hairspray was the year prior.
Oh, interesting.
Please, no matter what happens tonight, this is a celebration.
Did Wicked win everything tonight or no?
You will see.
Okay.
And he hosted the Tony Awards the previous year, and he didn't even get an opening like this.
Why not?
It was, well, he hadn't been on Broadway.
Oh.
And this year, people were just like, oh, Hugh Jackman is God, we will give him whatever he wants. And he was like, I want the Rockettes.
Wow. Just like Mariah had on her TV special recently.
I know.
Rockettes. I think they were out for Oh Santa. That was a great moment.
People were like, wow, a heterosexual man who dances and sings. What a showman.
I mean, I guess.
It was 2004, baby. It was a novelty. He's kicking as high as them.
Yes.
He was on top of the world.
Everyone has their own special dream.
All right, here we go. What a great song. I wish that one of the ladies was singing, honestly.
Yes, but...
If you open your eyes to what's in front of you.
And then all the fucking shows just like rise. Bitch. Chaos. I love it.
Oh, we're going back to One Night Only. Okay.
The like people from Fiddler on the Roof. Absurd.
One night only, there's nothing more to say. One night only.
The weirdos from Wicked. Like,
Glad they're all green.
that's Stephanie J. Block. Puppets from Avenue Q.
Oh, yes.
Making out with the puppet.
One night.
Huge opening number.
All right.
And that was Nicole Kidman's there.
Yes. Thrilled about- Oh, Andy Cohen with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Renee Zellweger with Rob Marshall. Because they were
Yes.
like, remember did Chicago.
Oh, all right.
Yes. Okay.
All right, that felt a little superfluous that we watched that, but
Listen,
go on.
wait, I had to I could have showed you the actual Boy from Oz performance.
Now, come on, darling. All you have to do is just a little bit with the hips. Give me something sexy, boys. Something a little sexy. Hang on. Darling. Keep going. Come on. That's it, sweetheart. I know the thing. That's it.
So the first musical we're going to talk about
Okay.
is Avenue Q, music and lyrics by Robert Lopez from Frozen and Book of Mormon fame,
Yes.
and Jeff Marks, who randomly follows me on Twitter.
I love that.
And the book is by Jeff Whitty. It was off Broadway first, and then it transferred on Broadway. It's essentially like a very dirty version of Sesame Street.
Right.
And people were blown away by it because of how small and like low budget this musical was, but how fucking hilarious it was. It was dirty, it was raunchy, like there were no costumes, it was just actors in blacks just holding puppets. Like you saw the actors. I remember listening to the cast recording of Avenue Q and thinking it was the funniest thing on the planet. I don't know if I've ever laughed as hard as in the song Everyone's a Little Bit Racist. Gary Coleman, of course, played by a woman, saying, I can't even get a taxi. If you've never heard the song, just listen to it. And of course it was just advertised as just the small musical with the big heart.
I remember being offended by this show. I don't remember if I saw it or if I just heard it, but I was like, 2003, Matt Palmer. Did not like it. Found it not right.
And that's why everyone else loved
All
it,
right.
because people were living to be offended. It was just the little show that could, that everyone was rooting for. It was the Everything Everywhere All at Once of this Tony season.
let's see it.
We are going to watch the Tony Awards performance of Avenue Q, the music hall.
Also, there's full puppet nudity. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the cast of Avenue Q.
Okay.
Oh, it is like...
I told you.
Oh, it switches. That's Jordan Gelbert. He was one of my acting teachers in college.
Oh, cool.
Name drop.
When I was little, I
thought I would be a big comedian on late night TV. But now I'm 32, and as you can see, I'm not. Oh well, it sucks to be me. It sucks to be me. It sucks to be broken, unemployed, and turning 33. It sucks to be me.
Oh, you think your life sucks?
I think so.
Your problems aren't so bad. I'm kind of pretty and pretty damn smart.
You are.
Thanks. I like romantic things like music and art. And as you know, I have a gigantic part. So I don't
Brilliant part here. The fact that they black out the puppet's mouth, but not the actress's mouth.
That's cute.
Adorable.
Oh yeah? You do such anal things like ironing your underwear.
Anal was very much a term back then. No one says that anymore.
No, different time.
It sucks to be me.
Just like the choreography is just like, it's people skipping, like, Ann Harada, brilliant performance.
For opportunities, trying to work in Korean daddy, but I am Japanese. But with hard work, I earned 2 master's degrees in social work, and now I am therapist. But I have no clients, and I have an unemployed fiance, and we have lots of bills to pay. It's up to be me. It's up to be me. I say it's up to be me.
I'm looking for a place to live.
You need to talk to the superintendent. Yo!
I'm coming. Oh my God, it's Gary Coleman. Yes, I
Most random thing ever.
It sucks to be you. You win.
It sucks to be you. I feel better now.
It gets old.
I love how like Tony performances were just like so rushed through.
I
They were
mean,
just like,
they're
we're
all-
going.
I know,
Let's
there's
go.
only so much time. Okay.
It was just so revolutionary like at that time because you either got a big epic dramatic musical, like the late 90s were all about a historical epic, and then like the early 2000s, like post 9/11 was all about like the big splashy musical comedy. So the fact that like we got like a little tiny musical comedy that was such a monumental hit was so shocking to people. Some musicals of that year that were not nominated for Best Musical were things like Never Gonna Dance, which was based off of the movie Swing Time, which celebrated the music of Jerome Kern. There was Bombay Dreams, which was a transfer from London, and it had a score by A.R. Rahman, and it was like this big, lavish musical about Bollywood. And when I tell you, the score of Bombay Dreams slaps so hard. And then there is the infamous Taboo, which was produced by Rosie O'Donnell, written by Boy George, and it was a biomusical about Boy George's
Right.
life and career. But the thing that was interesting about it was a biomusical, but it didn't use his songs. He wrote an original score
Oh.
for the show, which like, tell me when that has happened before or since on Broadway.
Are the
Like,
songs good?
fantastic.
Really?
Like, the score is beautiful and it flopped monumentally.
Oh, no.
Michael Riedel, who was like this very famous like theater journalist, like
Mm-hmm.
totally trashed it. And Boy George later went on Theater Talk, which of course I watched.
Of course.
And everyone on the boards was like advertising it as like there's gonna be this showdown between Michael Riedel and Boy George and everything. And they really wanted it to be like this crazy dramatic boxing match, and It was fine.
Okay.
It wasn't super dramatic, but now it's very much like a cult classic. But of course, I would be remiss to not talk about the biggest show of 2004, Wicked.
Right.
I'm sure you've all heard of Wicked.
Never once. What is that?
It was a huge phenomenon. Obviously scored by Steven Schwartz, book by Winnie Holtzman. It propelled Idina Menzel to stardom, and you know, it had the property of The Wizard of Oz. It was big. It was, at the time, I think it was like the most expensive musical like ever produced on Broadway.
Wow.
The thing with Wicked was they took everything off of the internet. Like, it was like when you went online, you couldn't, this was, you know, before YouTube, you could not find a bootleg. You could not even find a synopsis
Wow.
of this show because like, that would include spoilers, and the whole thing is like the true story of the Wizard of Oz, and so, and of course everyone wants to know that, and
Right.
your mind's gonna be blown by the ending. So like if there was a synopsis on the internet, it was taken down. I had to have a girl from one of the boards email me a synopsis. So
This is insane.
because like I wasn't gonna see the show anytime soon, and so I was like, I wanna know what the ending is. She sent it to me, I read it, and I was just like, okay.
I was gonna say, I don't even remember the end of Wicked.
I mean, Wicked was just the biggest thing.
Let's see it.
And everyone, of course, when Wicked came out, was talking about the Act 1 finale, Defying
Of
Gravity.
course, of course.
I'm going to show you the first time Defying Gravity was performed, like for a television audience, and
Okay.
that was on the David Letterman show, which was relatively early in its run. And girl, I will never forget that.
All right, let's see it.
This was before the cast recording came out. They did this at the Tonys, but the Letterman performance is
better.
iconic.
Oh, early in Wicked's run. I was thinking you meant early in David Letterman's run. I was like, he was on for a while.
Oh no.
Please welcome the cast of Wicked, featuring Idina Menzel.
Adele Dazeem.
All right, is Kristen Chenoweth not mentioned?
Not on. She wasn't on this
Oh.
Letterman. Look at the sound. Crank it up. And I remember being young and being like, oh my god, this is my favorite song, The March of the Witch Hunters. I can't wait to blast this, like when I get the cast recording, and this is all it is on the cast.
Yeah,
recording.
exactly.
I wish this was longer.
Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing.
The monkey didn't have to be there.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
They were just like, we gotta put a monkey in there so people think, oh, this looks cool.
Oh, okay.
We gotta sell those tickets, which they had no problem doing, but you know.
I mean, the woman's green. I feel like that's enough to sell the tickets. And the song.
It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can pull me down. I'm through it.
Yeah, skip those
I was
Glinda
gonna
parts.
say.
Yes, jump right in there.
Some things I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know.
And I just remember being a teenager and listening to this being like, this is so cool. She has the coolest voice.
A lot of kids think that today about Frozen.
I mean, hey, she's a woman of many generations.
Yes. Her mouth shapes are so interesting.
I
Like
know, I
one
love
lip's
it.
always up.
I love it.
And you can't pull me down.
I mean, are they gonna do the no? Yes?
I mean,
I
why?
guess we'll see.
You think they were gonna do Defying Gravity and not?
I was gonna say they have to, right?
The fact that they rigged it up for Letterman
know.
is crazy. I wonder how much money was spent.
True, the vision's hazy, but I swear someday I'll be flying so
Oh, weird edit.
It's okay, it's over soon.
Oh,
Their little dance is a little weird, but whatever. I just remember watching this being like, wait.
Great job, Adina.
It's so weird to hear it without the Glinda part.
I know.
Like, look at that tongue.
I know, look at all of those teeth. I can count each and every one.
But like, okay, right now, everyone has seen that number.
Right.
Everyone has heard that song.
It's a
We
great
know what the
song.
staging is, how, but like, I wish I could go back and like see that again for the first time. Because like, I was not expecting, because I had heard on the boards, like, she flies during
like,
Defying
what does that
Gravity.
mean?
But, and the fact that like, the staging of that number is so brilliant because it's so simple and yet effective because the song is the star and like the way it's staged is so smart because they're just like, we don't need to do anything crazy, just up in the air. I mean, that's history. Like Defying
that's
Gravity
history
on
right
Letterman
there.
is history.
Hey guys, while we're on a quick break, I want to tell you about Movie Palette. Movie Palette creates really, really cool canvas art out of your favorite movies. It takes each individual frame of whatever movie you choose. The Sound of Music, West Side Story. Their team of artists picks the dominant color of each individual frame, lines them all up in the timeline of the movie, and wham, you have a gorgeous canvas that represents the scope of your favorite movies. And I love my movie palette. I actually got a movie palette made of my movie Devos, and it's a really great gift if you want to give someone something personal, you know, because everyone has a favorite movie or a movie that means something huge to them, and obviously Devos means a lot to me. So to see it all condensed in one really cool piece of wall art is amazing. I love picking out each individual scene, being like, oh, that's this scene, that's this scene. And so if you guys want a discount code, you can go to www.moviepalette.com, type in the code MATS15, so our names, MATS, plural, 15, all capital letters, no space between MATS and 15, and you can get 15% off of your purchase. So check out moviepalette.com. They got a lot of amazing choices. So go check it out. The discount code is MATS15. Can't wait to see your beautiful wall art.
We're gonna talk about the musical revivals now.
Okay.
The musical revivals, it was a big deal because Little Shop of Horrors finally came to Broadway. It was off Broadway in like 1982. It became a huge, like the biggest success for a show that was only off Broadway. It was a very successful movie. Obviously, Ellen Green's performance in Little Shop is one of the greatest performances that will ever happen. And it was finally coming to Broadway this season. People discovered after it came to Broadway that maybe it doesn't work in a huge theater. It was not a huge critical success, but it's okay. It's a beautiful show. Wonderful Town, obviously a revival of a classic musical. Donna Murphy, like, really stretched her musical comedy muscles. She was very much known as a dramatic musical theater actress. She ended up being brilliant and incredible. It was a very successful revival. Fiddler on the Roof was also revived, and everything I've seen of it seemed nice, but it got criticized a lot because people felt the production wasn't Jewish enough.
Okay.
Avenue Q and Fiddler on the Roof did like an iconic collaboration at the Easter Bonnet competition that year, which is like a fundraiser show to raise money for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. It was very funny. Check that out if you can. Assassins was the big critical hit of all the revivals of that season. It's a Sondheim musical that only played off-Broadway before in the early 90s. Very lauded production directed by Joe Mantello, who also directed Wicked. Joe Mantello ended up being nominated for Best Director of a musical for Assassins and not Wicked. He ended up winning for Assassins.
Wow.
I saw Assassins.
How'd you like it?
It was phenomenal, it was great, but the revival performance I am going to show you is from the revival of Big River, which transferred from Los Angeles. It was originally staged at Los Angeles' Deaf West Theater Company. Deaf West Theater Company uses both hearing actors and deaf actors, and they incorporate in their staging, in their choreography, sign language. There is a moment in this production. It's the number Waiting for the Light to Shine, and it's, if you know the story of Huck Finn, his best friend Jim got sold back into slavery, and Huck is essentially like saying, you know what, my entire life I've been this like bad, rough kid. Everyone's been telling me I'm gonna go to hell my entire life, so if I'm gonna go to hell, I might as well go for it and break my friend like out of slavery and free him. And it's a very, very cathartic moment for this character. It is a brilliant song. And the staging of this production. It has the actor Ty Giordano, who was in the movie The Family Stone.
Okay.
Which you very much
Oh,
like.
yes, okay, yes.
He is a deaf actor, and he is
yes.
playing Huck Finn. Daniel Jenkins, who was the original Huck Finn in 1985 on Broadway, is essentially playing Mark Twain, and he is essentially being the speaking and singing voice of Huck Finn, whereas Ty Giordano is doing the signing of Huck Finn and the actual, like, acting of Huck Finn.
Right.
He's singing this big cathartic 11 o'clock number, and everyone is like signing and everything, and in the middle of the song, everyone stops singing, all the sound cuts out, and it's just the people signing, and it's completely silent, and that is how the number finishes. So it's essentially like recreating like what the hearing audience would experience if they were deaf,
Right.
like if they could not hear. It is so simple, so stunning, so effective.
Let's see it.
This is a bootleg we will be watching.
Oh, a bootleg we're watching.
I know.
Oh,
shh,
my.
Don't call the cops. This may.
Woo!
This
I didn't know this was
may-
an illegal video. I thought we were doing legal things today.
I don't advocate.
Clearly.
But if it exists, I'm gonna watch it, and I may or may not.
Still says
I
David
may or may not have been the person to upload this video.
What? You uploaded a bootleg onto the internet that's still there?
Listen, the people need to hear about it.
Wow.
Okay.
Where did you like go and film it?
No, I had access to a bootleg of it, and I was like, I want this on YouTube so I can watch it whenever I want. And
This is really something. I really didn't know we were breaking the law tonight.
Especially because online, I'm very much just like, bootlegs are not good.
Who wants to see my bootleg? Wow.
I know, so I'm a giant hypocrite, but
I mean,
like,
now we know.
come on, it's been 20 years. Come on.
What are the hits like? Are you getting a lot of hits
Oh,
on
I
this
don't know.
bootleg?
It's on a channel that I don't use.
Okay.
All right, I'll go to hell. I'll take up wickedness again, which is in my mind, and draw that to it. And for starters, steal Jim out of slavery again. If I can think of something once, I'll do that too. Just as long as I'm in, it ain't for good.
I have chills. I can't.
Oh, how? I have a gun directed life for cloudy gray. I know the only way I do some things I've done. Like to everyone by the way that I was trying to run. I am waiting for the light to shine, waiting for the light to shine. I have been living out the soul, I'm waiting for the light to shine. Beyond the things I live, beyond the things I do, things I've done.
Ooh, who's singing that up there?
I mean, yes. I love the set with like all the book pages and everything. And the fact that this transferred from like a very, very small LA theater company to Broadway is
Right.
just
Very impressive.
and all these actors in the back, these are the deaf actors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Great vocal up top.
If I was in that theater, I did not get to see this production. If I was in that theater and I saw that, I would have shit my pants.
Oh,
like
well-
something so simple yet so effective, and his performance, Ty Giordano, is so fucking good. Random story, that's insane. I was working at the restaurant. This was probably like 2017, so like
Okay.
14 years after this production. Across the restaurant, I heard these two old random guys talking, and I heard one of the guys saying, well, yeah, like it was really cool. Like all of a sudden, just like, you know, they were in the middle of this song and then everyone stopped singing, but like they kept doing sign language, like as if the song was continuing, but you couldn't hear anything. And I leaped across the restaurant
God.
and screamed, "Are you guys talking about the 2003 revival of Big River?" It was the nerdiest moment of my
I
life.
assume they were.
And they were just like, yeah, how did you know? And I was just like, because girl, everyone knows that staging. It's iconic.
Everyone does not know, but you know.
Everyone
and that's great.
knows.
I think that's great.
They're talking about it at restaurants. Okay.
Talking about restaurants. Go on.
All right, it was a very nice year for plays as well. There was
Right.
Golda's Balcony starring Tova Feldshuh. There was Anna in the Tropics, which won the Pulitzer that year.
Yeah.
I Am My Own Wife won Best Play at the Tony Awards. Jefferson Mays won Best Actor. But in terms of plays, we all remember this as the year the dramatic actor, Puff Daddy, made his Broadway debut in Lorraine Hansberry's play A Raisin in the Sun.
I did not remember that.
Oh, you don't remember this?
I don't.
This was
Man.
huge. So like here was like Puff Daddy, huge rapper from the 90s, like in one of the like biggest like American plays in history.
How was he?
And people were like, he's lovely. Like we were like, what a lovely performance.
Right.
Obviously it was also starring Audra McDonald. She won a Tony Award. Felicia Rashad won a Tony Award as well. She became the first black woman to win Best Leading Actress in a Play at the Tony
Wow.
Awards. But speaking of plays, this was the year that Tony Kushner, the famous playwright, relatively like 10 years out of his like Angels in America era, this was when he was like, y'all, I'm gonna write a fucking musical. And that musical ended up being Caroline
All right.
or Change.
Yes.
If you've been watching the channel 2Gay Mats, you know that Caroline or Change is not only my favorite musical of 2004, not only my favorite musical of the 21st century, not only one of my favorite musicals of all time, but one of my favorite things.
Right.
Caroline or Change, about a maid living in Louisiana. She is working for a Jewish family, is like best friends with this little boy whose mother just recently died. His stepmother is like, hey, we need to teach Noah a lesson about like being responsible for the change in his pockets. He keeps leaving his like coins in his pockets. So, and she wanted to give Caroline, the maid, a raise, but she didn't have, like the family didn't have the money to. So she's like, when Noah leaves change in his pockets and you're doing laundry, you can keep the change. It ends up causing a giant rift between this maid and this little boy. It is one of the best things ever. And Matt Palmer loves it as well.
I did like it.
It took him years to finally listen
did
to
like
it,
it.
but he finally did.
Yes.
So I saw Caroline or Change on its closing night performance, and I had not heard any of the music before I saw this Tony Awards performance.
Okay.
And I was like, Mom, because my mom was like, do you want to see Wicked? Do you want to see Avenue Q?
Yeah.
But after the Tony Awards performance, I was like, I would like to see Caroline or Change,
Okay.
please. So ladies and
Are we watching
gentlemen,
the Tony performance or what performance are we watching?
we are gonna watch the Tony performance. This is Tanya Pinkins singing the big, like 11 o'clock aria, Lot's Wife, and this performance, she is just giving it all. She is cracking. It wasn't about like, oh, the singing has to be super, like pristine. No, we want to feel the emotion of it all. It's just messy, it's emotional, it's raw, it's thrilling.
All right, let's see.
All right.
Here now with
Oh,
our
Edie
first
looks great.
performance
Oh,
for
Edie
Best
looks great.
Musical nominee is a Tony winner for Jelly's Last Jam, and a nominee this evening, Tanya Pinkins with Lot's Wife from Caroline or Change.
Always days when people who hold their head high getting through. I can't.
I love this opening.
I can't.
And those drums.
Ain't never been no good. Finding joy the way you should. Hoping water turned to wine. Hope's fine. Ha. Hope's fine. Ha. Hope's fine. Till it turned to mud and some folks go to school at night. And some folks march for civil rights. And I don't. I ain't got the hood. I can't hardly breathe. And some folks do all kind of things. And black folks someday will live like kings. And someday sunshine shine away. Oh, sure, it's true.
And it's just like, you
You
could feel America like watching this, being like, what the fuck is going on? She's like, we're not used to seeing this in a musical theater performance. Like, it's not pretty, it's not like cute, it's and especially if you don't know the context of the show, you're
Right.
probably just like, what's wrong?
Did you know the context of the show when you saw the performance?
A little bit, yeah. It's just like, what? Out of control. It's like, oh.
Just go and throw it.
Down in that basement, murder my dreams, so I stop wanting. Murder my hope of him returning, strangle the pride that make me crazy, make me forget, so I stop breathing. Scour my skin to love. Stop feeling, take Caroline away, 'cause I can't be her. Take her away, I can't afford her. Tear out my heart, strangle my soul. A broken stone, Caroline, from the evil she done.
Oh, it's a great shot. Oh, she punches it here.
How many times have you watched this?
5,000.
Don't let my sorrow make evil of me.
Wow.
Nuts.
Impressive.
The fact that like the producers were just like balls to the wall, just like, we are gonna use this song as our representation. They marketed it like a play, but it was a musical, and so it struggled to find an audience. Because there were people watching the Tony Awards who were just like, oh, let me see what's on Broadway now.
Right.
Like, we want to see a musical. They probably watched that and were just like, maybe that's not for us.
Maybe not.
The bravery of like using that number, of the producers being like, no, we're gonna go forward with that number because the number is brilliant and people may be confused by it out of context, which like, I'm sure all of you who don't know it probably were just like, what the fuck? But that's what we're gonna go with. And
All right.
applause.
What's
Applause for
next
them.
up?
Well, we are a little bit done with the video.
Great!
portion, but
We did it!
We are just going to talk about
are we? Jesus.
the best leading actress race of a
Uh-huh.
musical for 2004, because this race was a fucking horse race, as you just saw. Tanya Pink, like, at one point, every single person nominated was the frontrunner. Stephanie DeBruzio was the frontrunner in the very beginning of the season for Avenue Q. I mean, when a puppet can make you cry, her performance of A Fine, Fine Line, like, excellent. So people were like, oh, she's gonna win, but then Wicked came out. And when Wicked first opened, the reviews were not in love with it. The reviews were not kind to Wicked people, but the reviewers were very much just like, but Kristen Chenoweth is brilliant, she will win the Tony Award.
Wow.
Everyone was predicting Kristen Chenoweth from like October 2003 to like probably like December 2003. Kristen Chenoweth was the front runner.
Okay.
And in my head as a kid, I was just like, Idina Menzel's gonna win. Like, Elphaba is the role
Right.
of the year. That is the star-making role. Are these pundits out of their minds? And I was like, no, Kristen. But then Wonderful Town opened with Donna Murphy, and people were like, everyone loves Donna Murphy. She's gonna win her third Tony Award for this perfect musical comedy performance. But then, Donna Murphy. And all this time, I'm still just like, no, it's not. It's gonna be Idina Menzel. Then it was announced Caroline or Change was going to transfer from off-Broadway to Broadway. And then
Okay.
people were like, Tanya Pinkins is gonna win. She gives the big dramatic performance. Also, Donna Murphy started missing performances
Oh,
from
no.
Wonderful Town.
Oh, no.
And so Michael Riedel,
Michael Riedel had too much power, it seems.
Michael Riedel,
Okay, sorry. This is what I'm gathering.
No one's disagreeing.
Okay, great. Just so I'm clear.
He wrote a scathing article all about how Donna Murphy really is missing too many performances. No one is gonna vote for her. He said at the end of the article, he was just like, if Tanya Pinkins doesn't win the Tony Award, I'm buying Bernadette Peters dinner. Everyone is like, oh, this article took down Donna Murphy's Tony Awards campaign, like single-handedly. I don't think so because I knew Idina Menzel would win. And of course, the Tony Awards came. Who fucking won?
Idina Menzel,
And that is when I knew at a young age, trust your gut when it comes to what is gonna win awards.
Has Kristen Chenoweth won Best Leading Actress in a Musical?
Not leading actress, no. Kristen Chenoweth has a Tony Award for featured actress for
Okay.
You're Gonna Be on Charlie Brown in 1999. That's a brilliant Tony performance. We should watch that.
No, not what this video is about.
But then the biggest event of the Tony Awards night was all season long, everyone was just like, you know what? Wicked isn't getting the best reviews, but it's the biggest musical, not just of the season, but it's one of the biggest musicals to come around. At the time, the big musicals won, the musicals that could make a lot of money on the road, on tour. And it was like the biggest surefire thing. Tony Awards night comes along. Sarah Jessica Parker and Nathan Lane pop up on that stage.
And the 2004 Tony Award for Best Musical goes to Avenue Q.
Oh my God! It certainly doesn't suck to be us tonight.
Even though Avenue Q had already won Best Score, Best Book, and
Right.
like all that stuff, like the writing awards and everything, people were still like, but it's gonna be Wicked.
Did you at that
It's gonna
point think Wicked was still gonna win Best Musical?
Well, I was also correct in my gut, being
Yes.
like, but everyone wants Avenue Q to win. Avenue Q was like, everyone's heart was in Avenue Q.
Okay.
So Avenue Q is going to win Best Musical. And baby, I was right about this again. I mean, I don't know what else I could possibly say about this year. Oh, I didn't even show you the Carol Channing and LL Cool J presenting at the Tony Awards together.
I said, what up, Harry? Yo, what up, Louie? It's a trip to see that you've been living large. You're looking fine, Dolly. Pour the wine, Dolly. You be rapping, they be clapping, we be back in charge.
The restraint you
I
have
mean-
is really impressive.
Bitch, that was history. By the way, she just turned 102 a couple days ago.
Is there anything else we need to tell the people today?
That 2004 was a seminal year, not just for Broadway,
Yes.
but for my little boy gay musical theater heart.
And I'm glad you had that lovely year.
Thank
it was
you.
your 1997, and I appreciate that for you. And I hope you guys all enjoyed watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Matt Palmer Music.
And it's Matt Steele.
And at 2Gay Mats for both of us. And go to patreon.com/2gaymats and become a patron. Join the Discord. Chat with us all day. And for a certain tier, you can actually request for us to review or react to something that you love as much as Matt Steele loves 2004 Tony season.
Yes, and there is bonus material on our Patreon, and one of the bonus videos is Matt Palmer listening to Carolina Church.
Yes, so if you want to hear that, it's at patreon.com/2gaymats. We have a podcast, comes out every Monday, 2Gay Mats, on your favorite podcatcher. Who do you need to give shout outs to?
To Jeff,
Yes.
Adam Parnell,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Montana,
Yes.
and Chris.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back soon with more 2Gay Mats.
Bye.
Bye.